Hello everyone and welcome back to another Glossop line video. We're doing a bit of a Manchester commuter run. Now when you just suppose think of a commuter run, you probably think, rush hour of the morning, going from Hadfield into Manchester, but we're doing a evening service. So we're going to be making our way out of Manchester and up towards Hadfield. So it should be quite good. There's our driver in there. There he is, looking all excited, ready to go. Now, big thanks to Dovetail Games for giving us a key to show off the route. Let's do that. Let's see what else we got. That as let's put the vigilance on as well. Don't know what does that one. No, that's weird. You do the vigilance, but then the key goes into the top one. And we'll do that to that. GSMR's already on. Not really too sure what is already on. I think on the Cross City you actually have to click on and then it sort of registered for you, but it seems to sort of just do it now, which is a bit odd. That's already set to day ahead, that's already set to that, that's all good. So we're ready to go. Oh hello, what's going on here? Are these going to couple up? I mean, that would be cool to see. What's this say? If it says 6 coaches, they'll couple up. Alderley Edge. No idea. I love the way it sort of comes up with all the different stations on a bit of the route which just isn't there. It's cool. Well, I don't know if these will all couple up. That's cool, sort of split platforms. Right, let's get the doors shut. We've got the green, and we're going to be calling at Ashburys, Guidebridge, Flowery Field, Newton for Hyde, Godley, Hattersley, Broadbottom, and then Glossop, and then we'll back up to Hadfield. No, get the HUD on. There we go. I still don't know this route just yet. Although I can't imagine it will be the hardest one to learn HUDless. There's not really, I suppose, much to it. I reckon we've got most of the stations in the bag now. I think what was it? Well, Manchester Piccadilly, Ardwick, Ashburys. Then it was, what was after Ashburys? Gorton, Fairfield, Guidebridge. And after Guidebridge, it was then, oh god, after Guidebridge, it's then Flowery Field, sort of the newer station from the 80s. No, what was after Guidebridge? God, I can't remember. Newton for Hyde. Then after Newton for Hyde, it was then Godley, Hattersley, Broadbottom, Glossop, well, Dinting, Glossop, and then Hadfield. So I'm right there. That is fantastic. Bridge, Newton for Hyde. Yeah, yes. There we go. Look at that. But there's not many stations. I think, what was it, 14 or something like that. So there's not really too many to remember. So what on the UE? So up east. I'm guessing that's what it might mean. Up east. Not sure. UE. Got 1 mile to Ashburys. Yeah, that UE again. You can see that's obviously up fast and down fast, but I don't know what UE and DE are. Or maybe UF and DF don't mean up fast or down fast. UE. Not sure. So we go through Ashburys, Ardwick, which we're not stopping at. I don't know if it actually does get any services. There's no CIS here, so you can't tell. But I can already tell this must be like a least used station of the area. I mean, just sort of a dodgy, just a sort of back alley to get to the station, which is then just not accessible in any way. You can tell that station's going to be quiet in real life. I can't imagine that does get many passengers. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a really busy one. But I doubt people would commute to Manchester Piccadilly from Ardwick, because it's just over half a mile away, so you might as well walk. As I said, it'd be a really quiet station of a quite limited service. I could be wrong. Probably a good train spotting location though. At Ardwick. That's a good question though. Anyone watching? Did you have to commute? Have you ever? Well, I suppose have. Do you commute basically one stop on the train? Like Ashburys. I could imagine people probably do commute from Ashburys to Manchester Piccadilly. Even though it's only a mile, I suppose people probably still do commute from it to central Manchester. I suppose right towards the end here. Was there a stop marker here? Yes, there is. On the little post. Love how high up the footbridges are. See, I'm from the south, so it's all third rail. So you don't get sort of excessively high footbridges like that one there. So it's got to get over the wires. There we are, this is Ashburys, and we are, well, I guess we're on time. Also good the way it says Hadfield as well. As it's sort of a separate service, and this service I suppose only goes to Glossop. So it's good that they've actually made it sort of say Hadfield. Because technically this service does end at Glossop. Let's get that. It's about around 3.5 miles to the Guide Bridge. So we'll be skipping out Gorton and Fairford. Not be stopping there. I was actually trying to find a service which stopped at Fairfield and Gorton. But I couldn't find any. Which, so I suppose maybe that's probably AI, which stops at them. I think this is Bellevue Junction. That's where we drove the 158 from, if that video's already gone out. Get that up a bit more. And we've got 3 miles to the Guide Bridge. It's up to 60 miles an hour, so it's relatively quick. And yeah, this route is £19.99. So I suppose, yeah, the sort of shortness of it, and I suppose there's not really that much to do. It sort of, yeah, reflects, well, it's reflected within the price. Well, there is a good thing about this route though, is the fact you probably could sit on the same train basically all day, just going backwards and forth between Hadfield and Manchester, which is good. Through Gorton, which, yeah, it says it does get services, but late at night. Which actually does say it's going to Hadfield. I might have to have a look again. I was sort of looking for any services above 35 minutes or so. So that would probably be, what, the 2200 out of Manchester Piccadilly. This must have used to be 4 tracks before. Or at least it certainly seems like it used to be 4 tracks. Just the way it's, you've just got this sort of lane here, and sort of the poles actually get all the way over. Definitely something was there before. And this is Fairford we're coming up on. It's just weird seeing this route being in a modern day setting, as the sort of other, well, 3 or 4 times I've done this route was the Woodhead electric line in the 70s in BR Blue, in the class 506, which is just the most horrible train to drive. It's quite nice to sort of see it in a modern setting and drive it in the much nicer class 323. Because if you have driven, I think, yeah, it's the 506, you'll know how just irritating the 506 is. It's the slowest train to exist. and then down to 40 just before Guide Bridge. That's sort of weird. Little bits weird. And we start slowing down for Guide Bridge. And we should be arriving on time as well. So I wonder how many trains actually do run this service. I mean, it takes, what, 40 minutes to get from one side to the other. So I would imagine, what, three sets? Yeah, probably about 3 sets, as it takes 40 minutes. So I suppose sort of similar to the Seaford service on East Coastway, sort of similar length of time. Similar amount of trains, and about every half an hour. I don't think there was any stop marker here, although the objective marker is saying to go to the end, so we will go to the end. You've got like another little depot here of some sort, or some sort of yard there. I think that's actually the RHTT yard. Or sort of where they keep the RHTT trains, because you can see the tankers in there. And even actually a bit further up, you can see a freight train up there actually. So probably where some of the freight services originate and terminate at. As there are freight services on this route, believe it or not. They're only short ones, about 15 minutes, but there is. You need to own either, well, South Eastern High Speed for some, and Great Western Express for others. Flowery Field next. And we're off. Hopefully within the next run I'll be able to play it like that. I'm looking forward to playing it like that. I love playing HUDless. How can you not like playing HUDless? Up to 60. There you go, it's got away for the back of the train. Now it's gone up. A little river there. Cool. So relatively, well, I wouldn't say it's slow or fast, but it's sort of just a suitable speed really, considering this is sort of a almost like, I know it's not a Manchester Metro route, but Metro-like route. Sort of, you know, quite close stops between each other. Sort of stop start. Actually relatively short as well. But I think if you enjoy routes like Cathcart Circle or Birmingham Cross City, this is right up your street. I mean, in sort of cross city sake, it's basically just cross city but cut in half. So only having, say, Birmingham New Street to Lichfield City or Lichfield Trent Valley. And then we come up to Flowery Field. And there's North, I think that's it, that's North Hyde station there. Slowly learning the stops along here. So it's always exciting learning new routes and speeds and stations. Where is it? It's just after the bridge here, isn't it? Which, yeah, I think this is one of the newest stations on the route. As mentioned towards the beginning, this opened in 1985. So a much newer addition to the line. A very short platform though. I suppose this would have actually been built for the 506s, which I think did run in the 80s. I see a collectible. Gonna go and get that in a sec. Yeah, that will do. I mean, there's no sort of proper marker. Right, let's go and get the collectible. Let's be good. Let's put the DRA on. Let's pop out and we'll do that There you go. Support local, shop locally. And you would actually have a guard on this service, so I probably should be doing the guard buzzer. But as they're not buzzing us, I'm not going to buzz them. Right, next station stop is Newton for Hyde. No, keep the hold on. Oh yeah, now we got to do the DR8. Also worth it using the hill start button for this as well. In fact, very useful using the hill start button, which is quite sort of, well, it's quite what's the word? It's quite I can't think of the word. Unbelievable. I suppose it's quite obvious what the hill start button does, or what it helps you do. But yeah, you just press it down. It just keeps the, I suppose, the brakes on. Well, you sort of release the brakes, I suppose, from using the combined power brake handle. Then you just sort of got to press the button down. It just keeps it on a little bit, so you can sort of, I suppose, put it into the power position, but still have the brakes on. So as soon as you let go of the hill start button, you'll be applying power, and you should be able to just roll off straight away. Because if you didn't use the hill start button, in some cases, you'll take off the brakes, then put it into power, and sort of within that time of it, releasing the brakes and putting on power, it will then start rolling back. So I made the most of the hill start button. Very useful, especially at somewhere like on the Cross City Gravelly Hill, which is on quite a hill, on a bit of a gradient. So it's worth putting, well, using the hill start button. There's not many stop markers on this route. That's sort of one of my, I suppose, criticisms of the Midland Main Line. There wasn't really many stop markers. Now, unless maybe it's drivers on this side just go to the end of the platform, which could be the case. But I do like my stop markers. Let's get the door shut. And yeah, we're actually going to use the hill start button here. So put it into forward again. I mean, you don't have to put it into neutral every time you come to a stop, but just good practice. So we're going to put the hill start button on. So look at the brakes. They're not going to release. There you go. Still haven't released, even though we're sort of in neutral at the moment. I suppose we're not braking or applying power. Take off the hill start button. Releases the brakes. So I'm going to keep the hill start button on. Put it into maybe power brake, P2, power 2, then take that off, and off we go. So it sort of slowly starts applying power whilst you've got it on. I mean, it's basically for sort of a sort of where it's separate brake and throttle. It's basically keeping the brakes in maybe first application, and then putting the throttle on a bit, and sort of let it start rolling forward, then take off the brakes. So very good to use, very handy. And then to Godley. You've also got to be very careful as well when you're going towards Manchester, because it's much harder to brake because you're going quite a bit downhill. So you've got to be quite careful if you're going the opposite direction. It could very easily end up with an overshoot if you're not careful. Yeah, that will do. Put that into neutral, which you don't have to do, but that's just a more realistic thing to do. Oh, there's a collectible there. I'm going to get that. Actually, we're basically ready to go. I won't. Goodbye, collectible. Right, let's use the hill start button again. Set to forward. Start applying a bit of power. Take that off, and off we go. It's Hattersley next, the dodgy station. Hattersley for me will forever be known as the dodgy station. Little island platform, looks run down, dodgy footbridge, weird random fence. I think the scenery does look a little bit barren off to the sides. I feel like there could be a bit more sort of vegetation here and there. That's quite cool though, sort of the all the graffiti on the side of probably that abandoned building there. You've got another little rundown station here, not used anymore. And yeah, Hattersley next. But I suppose that, yeah, that probably is something which could have been improved upon on this route. It's just the amount of vegetation. There's quite a lot of sort of quite barren spots on the side of the line, which just are literally just flat. There's nothing's been put there. And here we are, this is Hattersley. Yeah, with a very effective fence as well. It's like the most pointless fence. Maybe in real life it goes all the way across, but you would have thought if it did, they probably would have done that on the game. Hattersley. Let's get that open. There we go. Right, that's open. And it is Broadbottom next. Let's get the door shut. Use the hill start. Start applying power. And off we go. So we're a little bit late. Oh well. Let's go. And we are off. Out of Hattersley. Cool. It's been quite a quick run, hasn't it? I mean, it's been, what, 23 minutes? But I suppose the sort of slower feeling section is once we sort of have to backtrack on ourselves, sort of go down into Glossop and then sort of come back up to Hadfield. Oh, and I did look at the timetable as well, and actually there is a service which skips out Glossop. I think there's one, or at least I saw one on there. It takes 24 minutes. I think it's a late night service, and it doesn't go down to Glossop. It's just simply Manchester, Piccadilly to Hadfield, that's it. Doesn't say via Glossop. So that'd be a good one to do at some point. And here we are, this is Broadbottom. I'm sure there'll be a few chuckles to that. Quite a nice station, a nice little detail as well, the way you can actually sort of go inside the, into I suppose the ticket office area. I think it was, yeah, you can sort of go in there, which was cool. Right, where are we stopping at this one? Is it right to the end? Oh, there's a stop marker. Hooray. I love stop markers. Hang on, that's 6 car. I didn't see a 3 coach one. And before anyone asks, is there any 6 coach services? I don't think there is. As I think realistically they're all 3 coach ones. Was there a 3 coach stop? Oh, there was. Oh, that is hidden. Look at that. That is a really well hidden stop marker. I mean, you sort of have to know it's there to be able to see it, because when you're sort of coming along here, yeah, you can't. You can probably see that for a split second. That is a really sneaky stop marker. Yeah, you have to know that's there. Well, now we know. And then it is Glossop next. Oh no, Dinting. I always forget about Dinting. Poor Dinting. And that bridge there is our gateway, our exit out of Manchester and into Derbyshire. Straight away, cleaner air, and feels more rural as soon as we cross that bridge. I mean, it is, look, you sort of come across, come out, well, come up there, you got all the hills, the Pennines there. I think they're the Pennines. Oh, is it not this bridge? Okay, it's not this one. Hold on. Still quite a lot of air pollution at this stage, light pollution. Tons of it here. And ready? We get across this bridge. Actually, go now. As soon as we reach the halfway mark. There you go, we're down Derbyshire. Air quality, much better, much more rural. Basically, we're in the countryside now. You can probably see the whole galaxy at night time. Just from crossing that bridge. Well, that is weird how quickly it does actually change. Yeah, now it does feel much more sort of out in the country. And there's the other unit. So yeah, it's a half-hourly service on this route. I suppose, yeah, quite a sort of standard timetable. I mean, not really much changes. I suppose, you know, like on Cross City, you've got different sort of stopping patterns. Some trains do skip out Dudderston station, but yeah, some skip it, some stop. And same I suppose probably for Barn Green as well. Some trains stop there, some don't. Whereas on here, it's just a very just sort of standard calling pattern. It's basically just well, what we've done all day. And yeah, there's not any sort of branch line. Well, there is the Glossop branch, but all trains, well, basically 99% of the trains go down to Glossop and then back up to Hadfield. So I suppose there's not really much variety in services. So I suppose if you're looking for, well, lots of variety in services you can do, it's probably not the route for you. And I would consider, yeah, something like Cross City, Birmingham Cross City. But if you don't really care, you don't mind sort of just doing the same service to Hadfield and back all day, then it's for you. And it comes down to 10 miles per hour. And so yeah, we cross the Dinting viaduct there. One of sort of the key architectural pieces of the route. I suppose that's another thing as well. There's not really much sort of interesting architecture on the route, or at least outstanding architecture. There's no tunnels, and basically the only viaduct is that one there, which isn't really even that impressive. Sorry, residents of Dinting. Yeah, I suppose there's not really much on the route if you like your massive architectural things like the Ouse Valley Viaduct, the I'm trying to think of something. The Runcorn Bridge. There's not really any of that on the route. And here we are. This is Dinting. Okay, you can see obviously did used to have the other platform, but not anymore. I think even on the 70s version of the route that's not open. I think that's shut as well. It's all sort of falling apart. Get the door shut, and it is Glossop next. Is that a vending machine? I don't know what that is, or is that a ticket machine? Oh, I think that's a ticket machine, actually. Yeah, Northern have sort of fancy ticket machines. It's like a massive touchscreen. And let's go onwards to Glossop. In platform 1. Only one there. And I guess we're in the 70s version. The platform's on the other side. Don't know. I'm gonna have to go and have a little look on the 70s version and see sort of all the differences. I swear you stop on the other side. Not sure. Anyway, down we go, down the little branch line. You would almost sort of think they would alternate services, so it would sort of be every every hour to each place. So sort of, you know, on the hour it goes to Hadfield. Every sort of on the half an hour, it then goes to Glossop. You sort of think they might sort of alternate where it goes. Although I suppose it's only an extra 5 minutes or so going down to Glossop. I don't know how busy of a place Glossop is. Is Glossop a big place? Is it you know, a busy place? I mean, it seems like a relatively large place from the game point of view. You sort of think they might alternate the services. Yeah, one goes to Hadfield, next half an hour Glossop, half an hour after that Hadfield. But this is based off the real timetable. I'm not too sure what year it's based off. I'm assuming probably an up-to-date one, or possibly 2019. Sort of. Well, no, it would be the most probably would be the most recent timetable. As it's the Northern when this got taken over by the government, which was quite recently. So yeah, probably would be the most recent timetable. Yeah, pop that down a bit more. There we go. As we come into Glossop. Yeah, nice run though up from Manchester Piccadilly. A superb run. No, we're still not done yet. We've got to go obviously back up to Hadfield. It does feel weird though. It sort of feels you're at Journey's End here, but then you're not. You still got to go further along, or sort of backtrack on yourself. I thought, yeah, no, hang on. On the 70s version, I'm pretty certain you come in on the right-hand side. Or am I wrong in saying? Did you come in here on the 70s version? I think you did, yeah. I think you came in here, and then there was a door out the other side. Not sure. There we go. Let's put that down. A bit further down. And there we go. No, yeah, I think you did. I'll have a look at it a sec. I distinctively remember it being sort of a dead end, and you had like almost like a gate to get out of the station. It was quite funny. Now, apologies if you also had someone shouting there. Door was open. That's now shut though. Yeah, I thought you came into here, then yeah, there was like a little gate, and then that was sort of the way out. Not sure. Right, that's part one. Would be sort of nice if it was the same service, but I suppose that might not be possible in some way. Oh, we're basically ready to go as well. Let's get this sort of set up. Because a lot of people will probably do that and be like, oh, that's it. Even though it's not, you've got to sort of go further. But yeah, that might not be possible. Game limitations. Let's do that. That's fine. I think that's all shut down. We'll do that as well. Be a good driver. We'll deregister on the GSMR. And then make our way to the other cab. And yeah, the purpose of putting the blind down is to, well, I suppose, but I probably should put the other one down to make it effective. I suppose to try and keep the cab cool, especially in summer, where the sun will be shining on the back cab for half the day. So proper heat it up. Right. Let's go. Already heading back. Well, heading to Hadfield. It's not much of a turnaround time there. You've got to be quite quick. Quite quick off your feet. Lovely. Very slow out of the station. That sun is really bright on there. I'm trying to get sort of a nice screenshot, but the sun just keeps sort of pounding against that front, making it really bright. No, don't put a bush in the way. No, there's a bush in the way. Right, come on. Yeah, that might have to do. That will speed up imminently. That's up to 40, yeah, 45, there we go. Let's whack that in full. Hadfield is our next station stop. So quite a weird sort of procedure there, sort of having to come down here and then, yeah, back up to Hadfield, sort of bypassing Dinting. I don't know, it's odd. But it's the way things are done on the Glossop line. Yeah, you just think it'll be easier sort of every half an hour running the service. You know, one service, Glossop, half an hour later Hadfield, half an hour later Glossop. But I suppose, yeah, I mean, what time, I can't even check what time we got to Dinting. But I suppose it doesn't take too long, does it, to nip down here. And quite a cool thing to do. Oh god, yeah, again, no, we're fine. Yeah, we're all good. And we got the 10 mph limit. And I wonder what secrets are on this route as well. I wonder what sort of little secret bits you can go to and explore and discover. Dovetail usually sneaks something in. I wonder what the donkey is on this route. Which is another sort of little Easter egg which Dovetail games put in. They always hide a donkey in their route somewhere. And 10 miles per hour. Oh, lovely. As we, I suppose, the Dinting triangle. Yeah, it is a rather peculiar thing to do. That it's the way of the Glossop. The way of the Glossop line. Not to 40, and then into Hadfield. So yeah, that's, well, I suppose so far it's been about 39 minutes. So by the time we get there, about 40 minutes per service, 41 minutes, part 1 and part 2 included. So I mean it's not bad. I mean that is about half of, say, Cross City, and about double Cathcart Circle. So yeah, not too bad time wise. And I suppose if you don't have that much time, you want to do a quick service, you could even just do Hadfield Glossop, or, you know, Manchester to Glossop, and that's it. Where sort of splits it at Glossop. Yeah, the Manchester Commuter, an evening commuter run out of Manchester. and start coming down to 15 and into the very quaint dead end station or terminus station of Hadfield. Pop that, yes, AWS screaming at us. Cool. Only about a minute late, but that's fine. A minute late will do. And to the end. But no, it's weird seeing this if you've played the Woodhead Electric in BR Blue. As this is double, and it continues all the way, I think, to Sheffield. Never driven that far past, but yeah, it goes quite a distance more on there. But well, the passenger trains don't. The passenger trains stop here. Well, I think you can now walk this. You can walk past Hadfield and walk basically along the old railway line. That'll do. Here we are. This is Hadfield, and that is Journey's End. That is the end of the service. So that sort of gives you a good idea of how long a service is on the Glossop line. But yeah, hopefully everyone has enjoyed it. Links can be found in the usual places. Discord. Oh, someone's walking. Ooh, onto the tracks there. Links can be found in the usual places. Discord, PayPal, merch store. Big thanks to Dovetail Games for giving us a key to show it off. Apart from that, thanks all for coming in, and I hope to see you next time. See you all. Take care. Bye, guys.